Guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be discussing how I landed a $13.9 million listing that's coming to market here within the month, depending on when you see this. It's going to be around July that it goes live, and I'm recording this on June 3rd. So you guys have been watching me for a long time. You've seen a lot of my practicing and preaching of cold calling and utilizing social media. I'm proud to say that this was from a cold call that I made in 2023 October. So I'm bringing up the date specifically, and I'm going to break down each step of this for many reasons. One, I want you guys to understand that building relationships take time, and cold calling is not always instantaneous. Depending on who you're calling and how frequently you're calling and how good you are, it could be quick. Sometimes it might take a little bit longer. So when you're calling for sale by owners and expireds, that can be instant. That could be a day, that could be a week, that could be 2 weeks. If you're circle prospecting, I usually say it's 3 to 6 months out on average. So I'm sitting here cold calling in Florida before I really had my systems, mapped out and perfected. And instead of calling, 3 or 4 communities over and over and over again, I would just call every community once. And I was getting bored. And anytime I saw something with a shiny object, right? Like any luxurious building or community, I'm like, I'm going to call this building. Why not, right? I was calling Indian Creek where like Jeff Bezos lives, Tom Brady, David Guetta, like $60 million, $80 million properties. I was just like, dude, there's nothing anybody could say to me that would affect me or take me off the path. I stumbled upon a community called the Village of Bell Harbor, and I actually called someone who is a former partner at Goldman Sachs. I will just tell you guys right now, I didn't know the severity of what that meant, but to become a partner at Goldman Sachs, there's a cycle, I believe, every 2 years where literally 0.01% of people in the community or the company get accepted. So there's maybe out of 5,000 applications every 2 years, like 50 people get accepted, not even. And that's crazy. So I call the very sophisticated person is what I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to emphasize that. This is a mistake. I want you to learn from my mistake. And mistake number 1, I was cold calling a community that was very high end, that when you're talking big numbers, Zillow doesn't account for a property that's renovated and or account for a property that has very high-end finishes and or it's very exclusive. Example, I called the guy, went through my script, which was, the beginning stages of me really cold calling. And I said, I'm going to use John, for example, to protect my client's identity. And I said, John, hey, it's Anthony with Douglas Elliman. I'm calling about 123 Banana. And he goes, yeah, what about it? And I go, well, I'm actually calling because there's been a ton of demand recently and there's not much inventory, John. I was just curious, like, if you got the right number, would you entertain selling? And he's like, what's the right number? I have my Zillow up at the time and I'm scrolling and I'm like, 8 million. And he goes, you have no idea what you're talking about. And he's right, because this estimate was so far off, it didn't know that he spent $2 million on the home. And I, as an expert, should have said, which is a mistake I made, but I still got it. But anyway, let's learn from those mistakes. Honestly, John, I'd be doing you a huge disservice if I just shot a number over the phone. It's like a doctor giving a diagnosis without seeing the patient in person. The best I could tell you is this. The average price per square foot in the community is $1,500 to $2,000 a foot. So that puts you at around 11 on the low end, 14 on the high end. That's a way better answer. But even though I messed up, the universe rewards hard work and the universe rewards consistency and relationship building. He was like, you have no idea what you're talking about, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, John, honestly, I can't tell what you've done to the property to make it worth 12 million or 13 million or whatever you think it's worth because I haven't seen it. And I go, if you'd like, I'm going to be in the area tomorrow. I'm happy to stop by and tell you what it's worth. And I tried this mirroring thing where I'm almost yelling with the guy, right? And he's like, fine, you can see me tomorrow at 12. I'm like, holy dude. I'm all excited. I'm prepping for the meeting that night at 7:30. I called the guy. It was like a Tuesday night. I called him at 7:30 at night. I'm getting ready. I'm preparing the next day. Hey, I'm not going to make it. I'm going to New York. I'm like, dude. Next week I call him back. I'm like, hey, you in town? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, what are we meeting for again? And I'm like, oh my God, no. I don't want to repitch. I don't want to resell. And I had to resell and re-ask all the same questions. But that's what you have to do, right? There's one word I want you guys to keep in mind when you're going down this journey of becoming an entrepreneur and or doing sales and being a real estate agent is commitment. I'm going to commit to being good. I'm going to commit to being great. Good. I'm going to commit to cold calling 300 people a day. I'm going to commit to understanding and having every rebuttal to every objection ever. I'm going to commit to the lead. I'm going to follow up with the lead until I die, period. So I'm like, I'm going to commit to whatever it takes. I met the guy finally like 2 weeks later. And then I did what I like to call, I don't even know if I should tell you guys this. This took me 7 years to learn. But basically, if you know how to set up an auto search for a buyer, like, hey, Anthony, I'm looking for a property in Fort Lauderdale. I want a condo on the water, 10 floors or higher, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, minimum 2,000 to 3,000 square feet. You can create like an auto email that anytime a property that comes up with that criteria, it'll shoot the email off to the client automatically, or you can set up something called concierge service where you can review it before it goes out. Anyway. And I'm doing this, but to let myself know what goes on in this particular community so I could update him. And every month I would text or call him and say, hey, John, just want to let you know, like, these 3 properties came on the market, these 3 sold. And he's like, wow, that's interesting. Every time I did it, it was very good feedback. I'm like, holy this is it. This is what I've been missing. Why don't I do this every single time? Like, why don't I do this with every single client? What if I do to the point where I do this, if I lose a listing to somebody, I start doing it. Like right now, called the guy yesterday. It was a penthouse. The guy's like, we're going to list with someone else. I'm like, before you do that, did you sign anything yet? No. I'm like, don't you feel that before you rush into another contract, you should at least get a second opinion? He's like, I represent a family. It's not even my property. I'm representing the estate. And I'm like, don't you feel like you owe it to the family to do what's right for them, as opposed to just going with a guy that you met at a restaurant 2 months ago? And he's like, you're totally right. And I almost got the deal. I didn't, but it's okay, right? I don't know what the guy's doing it for free, what his commission is, blah, 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 whatever. Immediately, first thing I do is, I'm like, how long is the contract, if you don't mind me asking? He's like, 90 days. I'm like, perfect. The guy's not going to sell it in the summer. I go in my Mojo on my cold calling dialer, and I put a reminder to call this guy every 30 days. I also went to that building and I mapped a circle around it, and I want to know everything that happens for the next 90 days in that building, because I'm going to update my client. So anyway, I was doing this, and little by little, I started hanging out with this client for 14 million or 13.9. I kept meeting with him month after month after month. And then, we met like 3 times, and then I didn't see him for 6 months. And then we met again, and then we met again. And then, I've met him, and then I went to a party there, and then I met some of the neighbors, and then I met the mayor of the city. And I'm like, I should do a podcast with the mayor, because every time I cold call someone in that community, I can just send them the podcast. It's like instant credibility and rapport, because I'm a genius, right? So that's what I did. Yeah, little by little, I just kept building rapport. And then one day he's like, you're going to get hired. You're going to get the job. And that was it. So the whole point of the story is like, I committed. It took 1.5 years of follow-up. It took 1.5 years of keeping up to date with the community. I learned so much about the community. I slowly became an expert. I can tell you almost who runs the show over there, what the average price per square foots are, and what the biggest sales are, and who sold them, and who moves there, and who lived there, even if it's not on record, even if it was in an LLC. And that's the power of committing to mastery, and that's the power of cold calling. I hope you guys get significant motivation and realization and obsession from this, not just motivation. I don't want to just... Motivation only is applicable when you feel like it. For today, to tell you right now, guys, I got to make 4 YouTube videos. I got to make like 5 reels, and I got to cold call 200 people. That's the promise I made to myself. I don't want to do any of that, but I don't care about how I feel. I have to do what I promised myself I would do, and that's how I got to where I'm at, and that's how I'm going to get to where I want to go. So if you guys have any suggestions, if you like videos like this where I story tell some of these bigger deals, like, I'm happy to do it. I love talking about it. I think it inspires people. I don't think a lot of real estate agents do it, which I'm not here to toot my own horn. I wish other agents told their stories, like, right? Like, how the hell did you get a $30 million client? How the hell did you get a $70 million client? How the hell did you go from selling $200,000 houses to $20 million houses? Like, explain that to me. Yeah, listen, I've taught this to over 1,000 people. I've had real estate agents go from 0 appointments every month to booking 2 appointments a day to listing 5 properties a month, from 18 years old to 50 years old, no matter where you are at. I don't care if you sell 20 million a year, 30 million a year, if you're selling 3 million. There's always different systems and things that you can learn from being around a structured, badass community that has all the scripts you need, all the guidance you need, all the accountability you need, and the systems and processes to be able to scale, not just cold call, but to scale, grow your social media, etc. If you guys want to learn more about that, click the link in the description here. Leave a comment, leave a like, share it with a friend. Follow me on Instagram if you want the real sauce. And as always, I appreciate you guys, and I look forward to bringing you more game and seeing you in the future. Let's rock and roll. Peace.